All right. Good evening, family. Please come on in. Come on in. As people are joining, I want to see you in the chat. So please make sure that you are dropping your city, and your name and your school if you want to, because I love knowing who is in the room. But I am Tarshawn Renee Gibson. I am the executive director of the Black Principals Network, and I'm also a proud alum of the Chicago Fellowship of Surge Institute, SHI 2020. So I am very excited to be with you all today. We are very excited to be with you today. So I want, before we go any further, I just want to introduce my brother in this work and my partner, the good Delante Burns, who is first and foremost a Surge alum for Surge Chicago, Shy 21, but also a part of the inaugural cohort of the Leadership Collaborative of Black Principals Network, the very first, the Agitators, TLC 23. And most importantly, my partner in that he is the program director here at Black Principals Network. So there you go, brother.
Yeah, that was a good. See, now I wish I really could have introduced you because that was such a warm introduction. I appreciate you. Thank you all for being here in a space. Super excited to start this conversation with you all to talk about our regional leadership summit in the South. And before we jump into anything else, I just want to give y'all a moment to just breath, pause. I know some of us have had a really busy day. If you are in Chicago, you've had a very interesting day because the weather was weathering. So hope you're taking a moment to really settle in wherever you are. Just take that quick breath, because you are not just here as a principal. We want to talk to you as a person and talk through what you're all going to be experiencing as we walk through this regional leadership summit in the South.
Right. So, okay, I see you, Baton Rouge. Welcome and happy new year to you. And I also see some of our Surge family in here. Hey, Tira. But I want to set the tone for tonight and exactly what this is. This is us kind of pulling back the curtain to give you a little bit more insight as to the regional leadership summits, the Southern Regional Leadership Summit being our first one in Atlanta. It's to give you a little bit more context on what it is, what to expect, and why. Like, I think the most important thing is the why. So it's not a sales pitch. This is like really a community conversation where we kind of give you the behind the scenes to understand um, why the summit exists, who it's designed for in this season of leadership. It's also a space to kind of breathe a little bit, right? To listen and decide if this is something that your spirit and your leadership needs right now. And spoiler alert, it is.
It
Okay.
is.
So, so uh, let's get into why these summits exist. I think that that's like one of the probably the biggest question. And so I want to start by being very honest about what we're seeing across the network. And by the network, I mean Black Principals Network, right? But just period. I want to say in schools, period. What we're seeing is brilliant, beautiful Black leaders who are exhausted. Guys, we are doing these school visits. We are popping up all across the country. And what we're seeing are leaders who feel isolated. We see people that are carrying entire school communities on their backs and doing it quietly, sometimes loudly, but mostly quietly, right? And so every year we wrap with a reflection on the year that is ending. And one of the things that our 2025 BPN wrap showed us, it was something very clear. The number one crisis, I want to be clear, that is plaguing our Black school leaders right now is not instruction. It is actually sustainability, staying in the seat. Stand in a place where you love, you've given your all, you've invested this time, you care about the families, you care about your students, you've watched it grow, right? You care about your staff, but just not being able to sustain yourself or that momentum in the role. Wellness, mental health, physical health, right? the ability to stay in the role without losing yourself in that identity, right? So leaders are not just asking for professional development because our districts do really good jobs of that, right? It is really about the professional development in addition to the personal development that taps into your identity. They're asking for places where they do not have to carry the armor, where they don't have to carry the mask, where they can feel seen, valued, and also just not be on all the time while still growing.
Yeah, and I would say like we've seen the same thing specifically when we have a chance to just check in with some of our school leaders. I've had the privilege of being able to connect with some of our TOC cohort members in Chicago, and we learned that people are really hungry for spaces to be, like Tara's trying to say, spaces to take off the armor, spaces just breathe. And like, this is not a space where you have to perform or like show up in this way. This is a chance where you can really be fully human, be fully seen, be fully loved. Because many times we saw that that also really helps sustain the work when you know that you have a place to go where you can take the armor off just to recalibrate as you get ready to step back into doing the work in your school community. So this is also a space where you don't have to code switch or be in survival mode where you're in fight, flight, or freeze. And we saw that that's critical and that's very important. And most principals don't burn out because they don't care. Our principals care about the work. They love our kids. They love the staff. They burn out because they are alone. They feel isolated and doing this work, don't feel seen. And we don't have conversations about what's happening with the principalship. We talk a lot about teacher burnout and how can we make sure that staff feel supported. And like many times, principals are like carrying that work, but who sees the school leader? Who's centering the school leader's experience? Who's wrapping their arms around the school leader to say, like, hey, are you okay? How many times have you had leaders that you're doing working your behind off to go check in with people, make sure you're meeting their needs and putting out fires and making sure there's not a lot of things on their plate, but then you go home with all the things on your plate? And how can we be a support at BPN to find ways to make sure that you feel connected? And one of the things that we learn is that our data tells a really powerful story. We've seen 94% of our leaders say that they would strongly recommend BPN, and our survey showed us that our net promoter score is a 93. It's crazy. A 93. And really what that means and why that's important is that it tells us that people aren't just attending events. It's not just about let me go to this program, go to this professional development. They're finding something more that sustains them. And like, how can we maximize that and continue to expand that impact and reach to make sure that we have more principals staying in the seat and sustaining the role?
Right. I think you hit it right on the money. And I think it's always important to focus on the data. In that same vein, when we did our survey, our participation just in the survey grew like 95% from last year and more than 300% from when we first launched BPN. So kudos to you all. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
But that also just tells us that people feel like their voices are being elevated. They realize that we are curating this, co-curating this space. And it really is about the needs of the leader, not about what we think. We really try to use that data to inform all of our programming, all of our opportunities, and all of our gatherings, which is what brought us here, right? Our leaders told us something very clearly in the BPN survey, and that was that region matters, local context matters. Who you are in Atlanta is not the same person that you are in Detroit. A school leader in Houston is not the same in New Orleans, right? Everybody is, of course, all schools are different, but within those regions, there are sometimes these commonalities, these trends, these things that you are experiencing. And what beauty is it to actually find community in somebody that's going through the same thing? Because, as school leaders, it's often difficult to be like, they expect you to be the smartest person in the room, to have all the answers, to have all the solutions. So being able to say, I don't know, that 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 takes a safe space. And that is the whole intent of this. That is why in 2026, we're shifting from one national gathering to regional leadership summits, because the data told us that people wanted to be in community in person, right? They come to our virtual sessions, they come to our professional learner series, our wellness Wednesdays, all of those things. But in all the data, it's always like, this was amazing. I wish we could do this in person. And fiscally, doing it one big thing, yes, we could do that, but it could also be so powerful to break it up by regions so that two things happen. Number one, you find that commonality or that trend that exists across the regions. Like in the South, there might be some
Mhm.
ongoing thread that kind of goes through it, and you're able to come together, share those resources, ideas, ideate around how you want to solve those problems or identify solutions or strategies that you could take back to your school. But also, if you are not from the South, we know that there's nothing new under the sun. So sometimes there are places or people are experiencing things in the Midwest that maybe the South experienced 2 years ago. So now you get to come and learn, right? Operate as a learner and learn, what did you do when this when you experienced this in your school? This trend that you all are having right now, I feel like it might be coming up north. So let me try to
Mhm.
proactively think about ways in which I solve some of those problems as well. Those are the things that we're hoping to really tackle in our regional leadership summit. So that is why the region matters.
Yeah, and I'm going to just say this. So, like as Tara Shaw said earlier, I have the privilege of being a part of the inaugural, the first cohort. And one of the things I'll say, and we've had three so far, and one of the threads that I've seen, both as a person who did it and also on this side as a program director, is that people love the opportunity to be in a shared space together, and like having the brilliance of these Black school leaders share space. There's just a spirit that fills the room that really cultivates something great in that space. And every time I feel like this myself, people always say, can we keep this cohort experience going? Can we keep it? Can we make it a year? Because it's so special. It's so sacred. There's nothing like it. And y'all, especially for my TLC people, this is that moment. Like, this is the thing that we all been asking about. Like, how can we find a way to be in that space together? I know we have a lot of people from different regions. Like, this is like your opportunity. So, even to my agitators, I need to see y'all show up. I need to make sure we need to make sure that we take advantage of having an opportunity to be in that shared space to really experience the brilliance and genius of so many school leaders, and to just be reminded that you're brilliant, to be reminded that you're dope, to be reminded that you do have what's necessary to move this work forward, and to be reminded that you're not alone. And the beautiful thing, and Tara Shaw hit on this, is that and is also a space to be in a room with people who understand your district, who understand the politics that you have to navigate, to understand your families and your communities. I know sometimes as a school leader, it's hard to put into words what's happening because it's so much. But the good thing is when you're in the room with another leader, you don't have to say it all. You understand what I'm saying. Like, there's just a thing where you just know, and you don't have to try to over explain yourself, because now you're in a space where someone else sees you and understands, and you know that you don't have to go for it and doing this work alone. I think this is where real strategy happens, and also this is where real support is possible as well.
Yeah. I love that. And you definitely, I also want to name that one of the things that kind of makes, not kind of, that is a part of the magic, a little bit of the secret sauce of Black Principals Network, is that we're not talking from theory, right? Like
Yes.
everything,
Mhm.
everybody that is in front of you has sat in that seat. So they're not talking about what they think might work based off of this sample data. This is really about, like, hey, these are some strategies that I have tried. And there's so much power in sharing your brilliance in a room, sharing resources so that we do not have to reinvent the wheel. That is another key to sustainability, is having things in your toolkit, right? So we actually designed these summits around four simple ideas: restore, reflect, reimagine, and rise. Okay. So restore means tending to your body, your mind, and your longevity. I want you to think about the things that you have put on the back burner. Some of y'all haven't had doctor's appointments, right? You haven't been to the
Ooh.
doctor because you're putting it off. Um, and you're thinking about all the things that you are giving to your school, your community. Then you come home and you have to give to your family. How are you replenishing yourself? What are the things that you are doing to take care of yourself so that you will be some good for your families, for your school, for your community? Because that in itself can definitely have an impact on your sustainability. The other thing is to reflect, right? Reflect means telling the truth about what leadership costs and who we are while we're leading. That's about
Mhm.
authentic leadership, right? Reflecting on our own practices. Oftentimes, we are making it as if somebody is doing something to us, and sometimes they are, but some things are self-inflicted. I will say that even for
Reflecting on
my
our own practices. Oftentimes,
I would say that even for my own self, I personally had this idea of what a school leader should be, and I was
Mhm.
trying to be that model of perfectionism instead of being excellent, right? And so one of those things that I think is really important as we're thinking about reflecting is also what are we showing the people? We're wondering why the pipeline is drying up. What are we
Mhm.
showing our teachers about this role? Like, how are we making it so that people want to become principals, right? If everything we're downtrodden and we're tired and we're working ourselves to the bone and have no personal life, I don't want to do it either. I don't want to be a principal either, right? So we have to be careful about the messaging, being honest and transparent about what it is, but also thinking about how do we improve our practices, our leadership practices to allow more people at the table, which also leads to sustainability. The other thing that we have is reimagine. So that kind of builds off of that. Reimagine means building strategy grounded in lived experience. So just because something is doesn't mean that it has to be. How are we reimagining what school leadership looks like? Like, how are we really thinking about our practices? How are we uh, taking that step out to actually dream big, which is one of the pillars of Surge, right? Like, how are we really thinking outside the box and reimagining what it means to be a school leader? And then rise, the collective power. We are not doing this alone. We are in community. We are together. We have people that share our experiences, that understand where we're coming from, and that are also brilliant, that can help us strategize around ways to make this role more sustainable. I think that that is a part of the magic, and that's really what we aim to do at the Southern Regional Leadership Summits. The other thing that I want to name is this is about y'all. So we're elevating the voices of our school leaders. It's not us telling you what's happening. Everybody that's in front of you is somebody that is a leader or has been a leader. So they're talking about the things that matter to you.
I want to go back to a thing you said earlier, Tershawn, that I think is important, that I just want to double down on, is that like it's not just a space of theory. It really is a space of how do we make this practical? Because I think many times we'll leave a space with a good idea, but not really sure about what do we do with that idea. And the good thing is BPN is a space where we can really have honest conversations about the real thing happening. So it's like talking about that parent conversation that we had to navigate because no one else in our community can handle that parent conversation, or navigating like budget and like what are some ways that we can like effectively manage our budget, or dealing with like leadership team members or like staff shortages, like really having conversations and then learning that like someone else has the same problem and someone else may also solve or found a solution to that problem, and you don't have to, like Sarah Sean said, spend time trying to reinvent that wheel. You can really think about like, well, what did you do and how can we make that work? Because we may be serving a similar context, a similar demographic. So how can we thought partner to really like find ways to make the work more sustainable, so we're not spending hours trying to do a thing that's already been done. And we're doing that in a way that's practical, not just this theory, this idea, this framework that someone made that really isn't relevant to the current context. one of the things I want to name with that idea is that collectively, one of the things that we've seen is that our BPN principals serve more than 30,000 students. 30,000 students, and they lead over 4,000 staff. And what that means is that we have a very strong and collective network that just speaks to this idea that I think we've said throughout this, and I hope you all are seeing this theme, is that you're not by yourself. And there's power in us collectively coming together to really have an impact nationally and being able to really find ways to shift the landscape of education to do what's best for our kids. But first, that starts making sure that we're doing what's best for ourselves as school leaders. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping that you all are taking this information in and really thinking through ways that you can take advantage of becoming a part of this work that we're going to be doing through with these regional leadership summits, because this is what we've been asking for. This is going to be my own little personal homecoming. Like, we get to see people that we haven't seen in a while, who stay all the way across the nation, that we really want to connect with, and be able to like give them a hug and be in person and share their genius and power.
I love that. So I think this is a good time where if anybody has any questions or something like that, please drop them in the chat. Nothing is too small. Please feel free to put yay us. I love it. I see you all in the chat. So I would love if anybody has any questions that they want us to answer. Please feel free to drop them in the chat as it relates to logistics, cost, travel, who should come, scholarships, anything like that. Whatever it is that you need, please drop them in the chat.
There's no bad question.
Yeah.
No bad questions.
So give a few minutes for that. So what is the thing that you're most excited about? You kind of talked about it a little bit about the homecoming aspect, but what's something that you're really, really excited about as it relates to the summit as we wait for some of these chat questions?
Yeah. No, I love that. I think, to me, and you hit on this point earlier, that I think this is what makes BPN unique and special, is that it's designed for us, by us. So then it is also us leading the work as well. So like, I'm excited to see some of these amazing school leaders present and
Mhm.
facilitate and share their genius, and like hearing someone who is like in the midst of doing the work talking about strategies and ways to make the work more sustainable. And to me, I love how we're having this conversation about sustainability, but it's also still anchoring professional growth. It's also anchoring legacy building. It's anchoring how we build our team, but we're doing all of that in service to making the work more sustainable. Because sometimes I might be doing a good job going to the doctor and getting good sleep, but I have a problem that I can't solve that's stressing me out and making me not feel worth and worthy of the work. And like, being able to go into a space to get some tools and resources and frameworks may also help. So I love how it's going to be a space that overall helps make the work more sustainable, but you're going to be able to pick which of these routes that you want to take through PD to really help you be like, oh, this is what I need to help make this work more sustainable. What about you?
I think, I thrive. I love being in community. I love being in the middle of all of this genius. I love ideating around like problems and solutions. I love hearing or seeing the light bulb moment when people realize that they're not alone, or when they feel safe enough to unpack something that has really been causing or a heavy weight that they've been carrying. So that is what I'm excited about. I'm also just excited to see y'all. I'm also excited to see some of the people that I have not had the opportunity to see in
Yes.
person, right? Like, I'm really excited about some of our school leaders that have not been a part of TLC, but are a part of the broader network and have not had the opportunity to be in community in person. So I'm excited for them to experience it as well. I think that's something. What are some of the questions that you have been getting, or some of the things that people have been bringing up to you?
Yeah, no, that's good. One thing I want to add to what you were sharing, and I love how good Sister Kyla put this in the chat, and you hit on this. I want to just double down. It's like, it's a space where you really can converse and problem solve, and there is no judgment. So I know that I've been in spaces before where I'm not as vulnerable and real about what's happening, so I don't necessarily get what I need because I wasn't really leaning in and saying this was the real issue, or like whether it be in a whole group setting or like sharing with my partner, and like this is a space where like, no, for real. Tara Sean said it, take off the armor to really say the thing. You may not be feeling really confident about some of the outcomes you have. Let's actually have a conversation about that to really think through like some solutions. And it's not a space where you'll be judged because everybody has had those same experiences. So I really hope that folks are hearing that, because I think that's critical. I think a few questions is I think the biggest question I've been asked is that I don't live in Atlanta. I don't live in the South. Can I still come to the Southern Regional Leadership Summit? Yes, absolutely. While the goal is that it's going to center leaders in the South and school districts from the South, any location is welcome to attend. So it's not saying it's just from the South, but we want people to know like we are censoring the Southern context. I do think that there is some power to that. Like, for example, we have people from the Midwest who's already registered. Shout out to y'all. And I know that there are some through lines, because a lot of the people, for example, in Chicago, your great grandma, your grandma was from the South. So the kids you serving, they still probably got some grandparents from the South, and like there's some connections there. So by even coming to the South to learn more about that context, it may also help shape and inform the way that we're showing up as school leaders, specifically from like understanding our kids and like where their families may be coming from. But ultimately, being able to be in a shared space with people is huge. I think that that human interaction is sometimes like even hard to put into words. But yes, you can still attend even if you don't live in the South. Um, what's maybe another question? The last day to register. I wanna make sure we all know the last day. Early bird ends on MLK Day, so I want to make sure we know that. But the last day to register is February 6th. 2 days before my birthday, February 8th. Just have to let the whole world know that, because that's another national holiday that we'll talk about later on. But February 6th is the last day to register. Please don't be that person that wait to the last minute to register. Like if you now here, let's fill out that interest form now, register now. Let's do it now to make sure we take advantage of the early bird registration. Don't put it off. While you are present in the moment, register right now. Because I know as principals, if you be like, I'll get to it, but then you go back to your school, and tomorrow you're gonna have a parent that want to talk to you. There's gonna be some kids that want to talk to you about this group text that they had going on, and then a staff member may be upset about their instructional coach, and then your chief. So do it now while we have you, because y'all know the moment you walk into that building, they're gonna be on you. You're gonna forget to do it. You're gonna write it on your to-do list, and it's gonna be moving down because of things. So register right now. Right now. Fill out that interest form if you can. Also fill out that registration form if you can right now.
Right now.
I
Right
just
now.
told some of y'all business.
Right now. I mean,
And I
really,
love
you
you. You
basically
know,
have.
you know. Mhm.
I think I think something else that has come up in addition to that. So you talked a little bit about the time, but I thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say. How you can pay. Everybody may not have a card. We do take purchase orders, right? So that is a great question. Yes, you can pay with a purchase order that is available to you, and the option is what it will happen offline, but the option is
Mhm.
available when you do register. So please make sure that you're not like, oh, I don't have a card, so I can't come. You definitely can. I see we got a couple of people that are registered that are coming now, so I'm very excited about that. Um, I think another question that we get is who can come, right? Like, who is this for? So I want to be very clear that this is a space for school leaders. This is not the space for aspiring school leaders, right? This is a space for people that are actually sitting in the seat. Thank you, Kyla. Who can
Mhm.
go? So any school leader that's a principal, assistant principal, dean, or district leader, right? Um, you are available to come and to register. I want to be also be very clear that we do center the Black experience, right? This is for Black school leaders. Um, and we'll have something coming up in the works for our aspiring,
Mhm.
but you know, But right now, we really have noticed that people have not focused on the leader. It's been a lot of stuff for the staff, a lot of stuff for the students. We've even skipped the leaders and went straight to the community. Like, this is what we need to do for our community. This right here is for our people that are in the seat right now, in the trenches, trying to stay in that seat.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy you said that because earlier note that we named, and I think Kylie may have put it in the chat, is that we are very intentional in making sure that the space is safe. So this is intentionally why we specifically design it this way. So then people know that this is a safe space for you to really be able to show up and have those honest and transparent conversations so we can move the needle when it comes to making this work more sustainable. I think another question that does come up as well is that, like, hey, I'm a school leader, but I also got a little side thing. I'm a consultant. Can I bring some resources and materials about my business to share? And like, we love folks who are like entrepreneurs and thought partners, and we, have ways to support and collaborate with them. But like this one, we're not having it. We don't want to have the solicitation and like the selling the materials. Like, we want to really focus on the professional development. We really want to focus on creating spaces of belonging and community. If you're someone who want to share your work with the broader BPN community, you can email us, bpn@surgeinstitute.org, and our team can review it to talk through ways that we can include that in our newsletter or like our resource sharing channels. But like, this is really specifically for like coming in and like really, I want to say doing the work, but they ain't really doing work, but it's doing the work to make the work sustainable.
Yeah. There was another one in the chat, and I think I touched on this, but I just want to also say it again, um, about what we mean by a school leader.
Yeah.
So that is your principal, your director, your executive director, your assistant vice co-principal. Sometimes they call it associate principal, your deans of instruction, deans of climate and culture, deans of, those are also some assistant principal level roles, but also like our principal managers district. This one is open to like some of the district leaders as well. Okay.
Yeah,
Feel like
absolutely.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to think, is there anything else we may have missed? Hey, yes,
Hey.
sir. My good brother. I'm happy that I'm seeing my agitators say they registered, because I can't wait to be in space with y'all.
Yeah,
I
it
can't
is a
wait.
lot of agitators. It's a lot of them coming.
Come on,
It's a
y'all.
lot of agitators coming to represent. But this is what the data said. This is what they said they wanted. So I'm very excited. I just want to really drive this home, and I think this speaks a little bit to that. The regional leadership summits are our response to what our school leaders asked for: sustainability, belonging, strategy, and community, because everything we do is in community, right? And is also intentional. So if this feels like something you've been craving, if it feels like a space that you just want to be a part of, especially because you don't want FOMO, we invite you to register. Bring your colleague and share this with someone who needs this space. It may not be you, right? But you may know somebody that is would benefit from being in this space, that you want to see stay in this role for longevity, that you may see needs to be in community with other like-minded and like experienced individuals. So please send them our way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say this thing, and I want y'all to hear it. I'm gonna say it really slow. Movements grow through people bringing people. I'm gonna say that again for the people in the back. Movements grow through people bringing people. And I already have a few people who already done that. I have a few people who said like, yeah, I register and I'm bringing my AP with me. I'm bringing
Mhm.
my district leader with me. And I want to name that as well. It's like, bring someone with you so they also can experience that space with you. I think one of the things I even wish I would have done, or if I had this, I would do this, is that like, I'm leading my school. I got my Black assistant principal with me. I want them to come to that space as well, because then both of us come back with this shared learning to continue to further to cultivate that work. So the more people you also bring and we also bring together, the more we really create a movement. Because, like, to me, I would love for us to continue to see a nation that exists where we see Black principles moving forward and sustaining and doing the work, because we know that we are needed. And sometimes we in spaces that won't say that. And that's why we're here to remind you that you are needed
That's
in
good.
that seat. What you have is valuable in that seat. We see you, our kids see you. Sometimes people may not name that and talk about the sauce that you have, but I need you to know that you have the sauce.
Yes.
And coming to this space may just be a reminder. So even if you're not sure and you're like, I'm not sure, register. Just come and see. Come and see. Let this be your trial and error. Let me just see what they're talking about. Is this worth anything? Just come and see, because I think this will be a transformative experience. So, like, you play a role in creating that transformational experience. So I'm looking
And
forward to seeing all y'all faces.
yeah, and it's an opportunity for you to pour into you. This is
Yes.
that chance for you to pour into you, your development, to stretch yourself, but to also be in community. I mean, I could be biased, but I will say that uh, we have amazing spaces. Our data tells us that too. So it's not me being biased. That's what the survey said.
Mhm.
That's what BPN Unwrapped said. Everybody says it. But everybody,
93 net promoter score.
you
Just
know,
saying, that's
everybody's
crazy.
so creative. No, seriously, we really do create amazing spaces because you're creating that space. You're co-curating that space. So I want you to take this opportunity and this leap to pour into yourself and your own development, because one of the things that one of the quotes from one of our surveys said is that it's not just professional development, it's also personal development.
Yes.
And I think that what is missing often in this role is the humanity, us constantly trying to compartmentalize things and who we are as people. Like, I can't be this person at work. I can't be, no, bring your whole self,
Yeah.
because that's where the real magic happens. And so we're going to unpack some of that along with some other things. And how are you dealing with some of the issues that are plaguing your community right now? Like, how have you dealt with that? Oh, you this is what you used. Oh, okay. Well, I use this. Well, let's exchange these, and then we can also build those spaces, those communities for us to have somebody that we can talk to, maybe do a site visit later, bring some of our leaders to see, um, bring some of our assistant principals or, co-principals to see how another school does some things. Like, all
Mhm.
of that is possible, but it takes one step, and that is with you registering. So what I will say is, because we are nearing time, thank you for trusting us with your time. These
Yeah.
summits reflect what we believe and what we have heard about Black leadership, but also what we have lived, because both of us were also school leaders. Again, not talking to you in theory. And I wish I had this space when I was in the seat. I really, really, truly do. But one thing that I want to say about specifically us, and he talked a little bit about our sauce, is that there is some magic there. And what we believe about Black school leadership is that it deserves to be held,
Mhm.
nurtured, and sustained. You deserve to be held, nurtured, and sustained. So allow us to do that for you. All
That was great.
right.
That was great. Thank y'all
Okay.
so much.
Thank y'all. And we hope
Yeah.
to see you in Atlanta. The links are in the chat. I'm expecting you to register. But until then, I will also say that we do have a professional learner series, a virtual professional learner series coming up at the end of the month.
Mhm.
So also be mindful and on the lookout for that as
Yeah.
well.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See y'all in Atlanta.
See you in Atlanta. ATL, Shawty.